Now this is the main framework for the drawer. This is the rear of the drawer and the front. Now I've drilled some holes to save time in completing the drawer. Now the design is intended to eliminate any laminations or end grain during the process, and we can do that. This is a rabbet. It's done on the table saw now with using a dado blade. I used to use the router, but that's not really very successful, so I now use the table saw. And the reason for this is the bottom plate for the drawer comes up inside, and when the drawer's open, you don't see the end grain or laminations. Again, the end part here, this is not so important because when the drawer's open, you don't really see it. But you should always do this longitudinal here on the inside. So if you happen to do that on the front here, when the drawer's open, again, you don't see the end grain. The third thing is the front of I prefer doing a mitre on the front. And again, that eliminates the viewing the end grain or laminations. Now there's only two joints that are required to be done to complete this. And the reason I'm doing these is, well, one is a face joint, which is a wee bit unusual, and the other is the completion of a mitre joint. So let's get started. Now this is Dowelmax in its normal configuration. And what we're going to do here is drill into the face of the wood. So in its normal configuration, you can't do that. So what you have to do here is you remove these two studs and these two knobs and this whole assembly, and you reattach it using these studs into these two threaded bores here. And what you have then is Dowelmax in what we call the second configuration. Also, what we have to do here is use two spacers at 1/8 and a 16th spacer here, which actually in effect gives us a 16th difference, and will center on the 5/8 wood. This is 5/8 thick. So now we're going to drill 3 holes into the face here, and we have to make sure we don't penetrate the workpiece. Now we're going to use the indexing pin. This is the best way to align, is use the indexing pin to reference. Off the end of the wood, and we can remove that. And we're going to drill number 2 and 5. And remove it along, and we're going to use the same indexing pin in the last hole, and make sure it's tighten it up. And this time we're going to drill into 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's that one finished. When you go to do a mitre joint, what you have to do is remove the reference bracket, the clamp bracket, and you're left with the block, to which you add the mitre plate, and with the appropriate spacer, whichever, depending on the size of wood. And in the past here, when we do for the past few years, I've been really a bit disappointed because we couldn't find a way to, or we didn't realize there was a way to clamp it. So when you inserted the mitre piece, you had to use an external clamp. And I really didn't like that because there's always the possibility of movement, and you have to fiddle with it. So you know, it was a bit not quite up to Dowelmax standards. So anyway, what we did, Michael and I designed this little, what we call an adapter, and it enables us to utilize the integral clamping system for Dowelmax. So this is a major breakthrough for us. So I'll demonstrate that. Now, that's the what we call the mitre adapter here. It just slips over the two clamp discs. Now these clamp discs are designed to rotate freely, so that when contact occurs with either the workpiece or the adapter, the disc stops and the pressure is applied, so it will not move. So let's start with this one. So once again, we're going to use the indexing pin to align. Now you see the adapter in use here. This gives a really firm connection. And as I say, we do the same thing again. Drill through number 2. And number 5. And loosen off, slide along until use the same indexing pin again. When we do, the other thing I'm trying to do here, we use the spacers in between the mitre accessory and the block in such a way that your holes are close to the inner corner as you can get. This means that you can have, you know, a longer dowel and a much stronger connection. So that's here, and now we're drilling into number 4 again, same as the last one. And that's it complete. And we're ready to assemble. Before I do the dry fit, I'd like to mention something I omitted to, a little tip that's quite useful. Some of you may be wondering just how far you can insert your drill, but before you start, insert your drill through one of the guides. And just make sure it's, in this case it's not, but a 1/16 away from the aluminum plate here, and that means that you definitely won't go through the wood if you just set your drill at that setting, a 1/16 away from this plate here. Absolutely level here. Mitres are a good fit, and this is a very sturdy construction. And now we're ready to put the lower panel in and fasten it.